Back in the fall of 2019, FiLMiC Pro made a big announcement at the Apple event during the iPhone 11 Pro launch event. You may have seen that. They actually announced a new feature for their app that allows multicam use. Well, that was supposed to come out in 2019 and it didn't happen, but now it's ready and available, and that's what we're looking at today. Hey guys, this is Blake Calhoun, and here we are, the brand new app from FiLMiC Pro, DoubleTake. Did I mention this thing is free? Yeah, it's a free app. Now eventually I think this will work its way into a future version of FiLMiC Pro, and they'll add more professional grade features to it. But right now, again, this is a free app. This is FiLMiC Pro DoubleTake. It's a very simple user interface. I'm guessing this is foreshadowing what the version 7 of FiLMiC Pro will look like, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Each of these icons in the corner does a different thing, and then you have a histogram at the bottom. On the top are where your files go. If you use FiLMiC Pro, you'll be familiar with this. You can select the check mark and then highlight the clips that you want to send to somewhere or delete or save to your camera roll. All these video files save to this library. They do not save to your camera roll. And right here is the biggest thing about this multicam feature, and this is choosing the camera or the view. Oh, I got the camera here shooting the screen, which is then shooting me, so it's a little bit of an odd setup. You've got your 4 screens you can choose, and this is an iPhone 11 Pro. And by the way, this will work on the previous generation iPhones, the iPhone XS Max or the iPhone XR. You would have 3 camera angles instead of 4. You can choose 24p, 25p, 30p. When you pick the camera you want, let's say I want to do ultra wide and tele, then you hit confirm. Now, up in the right hand corner, you select how you want the files to be recorded. You can go into PIP mode, which is picture-in-picture. The actual picture-in-picture will be burned into the file. You can move that around though, which is kind of interesting. And you can actually throw it off screen and it will record like that. If you want to bring it back on screen, you hit this arrow. The other way to record is split screen. I like this way, especially for social media or quick turnaround. And it is kind of challenging to shoot this way, to frame 2 shots at one time, but it is challenging in a fun way. And just to be clear, this will burn the split screen into the video file. And if you don't want that, you can do discrete. So discrete is now shooting a wide shot and a tight shot. You're seeing the tight shot here, but you will not record it on the screen. You'll have 2 separate files. You can make this go full screen, which is nice if you want to see the shot. And then you can go back down to the smaller. And again, you can move this around the screen as well. I like how this says discrete, picture-in-picture, and split screen. It tells you right there what you're doing. So for me, shooting B-roll is a pretty interesting way to use this app. Here I'm on a tripod using a shoulder pod, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and a Rode mic. And by the way, it does work with external mics. So in this setup, I'm going to record discrete files. Those will be individual files that I can then edit in post-production. This is a screen recording, and it's how it looks when you're actually recording the footage. And then here's the individual wide shot. And then here is the close-up shot on the tele lens. And then here they are side by side. I created this look in editing. So one of the challenges is shooting a wide and a tight at the same time, is the framing won't be the same. So you can do 2 passes to make that work. Like right now, the tight looks good, but the wide, the framing is too low. So this is another good example where if you're framing both shots, it's not exactly going to be perfect. Like this is how I want the tight shot to be framed, but then the ultra wide is not as good. I'd want it to be more like that. Still very cool to be shooting 2 shots at one time. And here's a picture-in-picture sample. Probably not the best use for this, but I did want to show it anyway. And then here's split screen, and I like this feature. This is pretty cool. If you're in a hurry and don't want to do editing and post-production, or if you're doing social media content, this could be a pretty cool way to go. Alright, so I want to test this out on a gimbal as well, and this is pretty interesting. Using the ultra wide, you can see the gimbal arm, but then on the tele you can't. So if you go into split screen mode, you've got a pretty cool shot. And so here's a sample shot of me shooting a guy out fishing. Got the ultra wide on the left and the tele on the right. Again, this is burned in, this is one image. But I do think this is a pretty cool perspective for select shots. Now I shot these as discrete files. So I did the same thing as before, but now each file is its own clip that you can then manipulate in post-production. You can see the gimbal arm here though, and this is where the tele shot will come in handy. And here's the same thing shot with the tele. I panned over to follow the boat on the tele shot. It really is kind of challenging but interesting trying to frame up two shots at the same time. And here those two shots are side by side. And then here they are edited together in a short sequence. And the tele will cut in and cover up the gimbal arm in the wide shot. And then here's another example using discrete files. This is the ultra wide. And then here's the tele. And by the way, I think this is a good combo to shoot really wide and really tight. It gives you the most difference between the two shots for editing. And then here they are again, side by side. And now the two shots edited together. Now this is a really simple app. It does have the histogram at the bottom, but other than that, there are no manual controls. You can set the exposure and the white balance by tapping on the screen like you can the native Apple camera app. So you would touch it and then click it again. And when it turns yellow like that, it's locked. So you can lock your exposure and lock your white balance, but you can't set it. You can't set it manually. You don't have any of the other controls like you would in FiLMiC Pro either, like the different color profiles or choosing different bit rates. It is a decent bit rate. It's 32 megabits per second. The other big thing to note is this app is HD only. And that has to do with just the sensor and the way this phone is designed, the hardware. While it's a super fast phone, you can't do 4 streams of 4K at the same time. You can do 4 streams of HD. It also makes it backwards compatible because the previous generation phones, the rear-facing camera is not a 4K camera like it is on the iPhone 11. One other thing too I wanted to show is when you record a discrete file, it records the exact same timecode number or file name, but does an A and a B. And so that way in post-production, it's easy to find the files, you know which is which camera. And you do that when you set it up. And you can determine which is A and which is B. So the first one you click will be A, the second one is B, you do confirm, and then A is the larger of the two. Other interesting uses for this app would be in journalism or documentary work. You might interview a famous piece of modern art, or do a vlog-style studio tour. Not really my thing, but maybe it is for you. Or yes, even vertical video for social media. Yep, it will shoot in vertical mode. If you can't beat them, join them, I guess. But really, only shoot this way for social media. And another split screen, this time horizontal. Just a fun social media video I shot with one of my kids. Or another use would be event coverage. So I staged a performance here with my other daughter who's learning to play the violin. Here I moved the camera around, and so I was able to shoot this much quicker, shooting 2 shots at a time, versus having to do the same song 10 times, I only had to do it like 5 times. And note too, I added the letterbox look, and I did that on the previous Nerf gun video too. And I did some slight color correction and added a little bit of a film look to it. To learn more about the main FiLMiC Pro app, consider checking out my course, The Complete Guide to FiLMiC Pro. Link is in the description. So overall, I think this is a pretty cool app. It's not necessarily geared at filmmakers like what I tend to do, but this is a Generation 1 app and we'll see where it goes in the future. I think for journalism, mobile journalism, and social media content, this will have a lot of use. For me, I'd probably use it more for doing B-roll. However, I like to shoot in 4K, so that is a little bit of a deal breaker, but it really is still a pretty cool tool to have available. A lot of these complaints are pretty minor considering what we have today, and I think we're really pretty spoiled, to be honest. Remember, this is a free app, so definitely go check it out and see what you can create. By the way, guys, everything in this video was shot on an iPhone. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.